Welcome to Enterprise Design's Industry Insights, where we identify key topics in the commercial real estate industry. I'm Ann Weston, Director of Design Services.
And I'm Jessica Green, Director of Client Services. For this series, we're discussing market trends with Dallas-based commercial real estate professionals. To kind of piggyback on that, what other trends or changes do you see in the commercial real estate industry?
JJ touched on a big one, which is flight to quality, and we have said it over and over, and everyone's like, okay, that's not news at all, we know that, but that is the biggest trend. It still is a game of have and have-nots, if you will, and that is building specific, that is sub-market specific of new construction, obviously, has proven flight to quality, and you look at no matter what's happening with vacancy, rental rates are climbing, shows that people are willing to pay more for quality product that's amenitized. And to us, amenitized today doesn't mean, okay, I have a fitness center, check the box, I have this, check the box, because the check the box doesn't work anymore. It's having the full, it's all about experiential. It's about, again, what we just talked about, giving people a reason to be there rather than sitting at home. And that is getting harder because so many people are fully amenitizing buildings. It's always, what can we do that's new and different that separates us from someone else, which is what we love to lean on your team, for instance, for, is to helping us understand new ideas. But the flight to quality, I mean, again, it's only been heightened. It's not going anywhere. And even, again, I'm very involved in Uptown. You look at Uptown and you see a tenant that's in a Class A building on McKinney, which is a newer building, great building, and their lease rolls, they're still moving across the street for the brand new construction. And it's just this evolution of the next best, the next best, the next best. And rental rates are astronomically high, in my opinion, compared to where they've been historically. But people are paying for them. It is a really important, it's a marketing expense almost. It's what you have to do to bring people back in the office, to stay competitive from an employee standpoint. And I don't think that trend's going anywhere anytime soon. It's only going to continue.
The rental rates have gone up, but concessions have gone up,
Absolutely.
too. So
The
improvement allowance has kind of come along with it, and it's much higher than it used to be. But
as our construction cost.
which is why rental rates are up, which is why landlords are giving higher TIs. I mean, just and then with the credit markets right now, it's kind of like that it costs more to build and buy. So that's going to have to we can get off on a tangent on that. We don't need to, but that'll have to play itself out, for the market across the board, regardless of what food group, industrial, office. There's going to be, some reconciliation with that over the next, I think, 6 to 12 months. But yeah, I think those trends we talked about are super important. And there are 80s and 90s vintage buildings out there that are well located that have great opportunities for repositioning. The lesson learned is if you're going to do it right.
Right.
Go do it right, and if you build it, they will come. Right. General Crow Center, Pinnacle Tower, we've got the middle of the Guild right now. But it just shows that people are attracted. They'll still go to those buildings that have been there for 30 plus years, but they want it to feel new.
Right.
And if it's well located, it'll lease, and you'll get a premium for it. It's not new construction, but there's demand for that. We've seen that in a lot of our portfolio, which is great. So the knock on Dallas was that have land, will build, right? And for years that was the case, but because of different market constraints, that hasn't been the case the last 5 to 8 years. I think developers have been very careful about, and lenders about what they do and where they build, and making sure that they have a good build a good case for the lease up of their project. So
you definitely don't want to do a lot of CapEx work and then all of a sudden have CapEx regret because it wasn't done correctly. So definitely.
And we've said this all the time. You can't put lipstick on a pig and it makes everything else. It doesn't work. You do it right, or honestly, don't do it, because you're not going to get rewarded for it.
I agree. And I like, to your point, you were talking about, it's not just checking a box anymore. It's really about an experience. Like, you really need to dive into it. It's not just, hey, put this in there because it checks a box. So.
Then I would say, as far as trends we're seeing with inside tenant spaces, which y'all are obviously more in tune with than we are, I would say the biggest thing we've seen is just the demand for collaboration, meeting space, call rooms. Again, a lot of people are using the office, some are using the office differently, and so they need those huddle rooms when they are in the office. They're there to collaborate, they're there to work together as a team. So that's something we've seen a shift of, just the need for additional collaboration space.
Well, so another question that we had for you is how do you stay informed about movement in the market as well as kind of the overall state of the market in Dallas?
So good question. A couple things. As I said earlier, we are boots on the ground. We are, of all the producers on our team, we all have comp groups that we're involved in. And for us, it's about relationships. So the people, having good relationships with people, pick up the phone and call them. They're going to share a lot more information than if you don't know who they are and they don't know who you are. But comps meetings, small groups comps meetings especially, where people are a little more open to share information. Obviously, it's give and take, but the community is so close knit that even though commercial real estate is competitive, we're all very friendly and we're all in this together. And I think people are typically forthcoming with information and helpful with sharing information. And between the number of people we have on our team and the markets we touch, we leverage our team's knowledge that they're picking up from different places. So I would say just first and foremost, the best intel is from other people that are boots on the ground that we work with in the industry, and just keeping conversation, grabbing happy hour, grabbing lunch, et cetera. And again, kind of give and take on information.
We're in an open office, so we're constantly, we have confidential information that we need to keep, and that's why we have huddle rooms and those types of things. We don't want to have, certain calls that are out in the open, because that's important, our fiduciaries to our clients. But when able, we share openly things that might help, one another, just with our clients and with the ability to lease up our projects. And, one thing that Stream's done differently than anywhere else I've been, or really anywhere I know of, is that since we are obviously the boots on the ground that live the market day to day in our respective, I may work in 3 or 4 different submarkets. Marissa may touch 2 or 3 others, but we kind of have expertise in certain areas where we really focus on the supply and demand metrics and the deals that are in the market and what's getting done and what are the market drivers. And we write our own quarter report as Stream. So the market write-up and verifying the numbers, that's us. We don't have an analyst, and nothing against analysts who, do that. They do a great job at some of these other firms, but we are our, we do our own reports. We do our own research. We do all that, and we pride ourselves in that, because who better to tell the story of what's happening in the market than those who are living and breathing it.
Right.
Absolutely. I love that. On to the next one. Have you experienced any issues with lease negotiations or lenders not wanting to invest in office space? If so, how have you been able to refute this mindset?
It's a weird juxtaposition right now between the capital markets and the leasing market. Mm-hmm. Capital markets have kind of frozen since I alluded to that earlier, since interest rates have really started to rise and the Fed's been pushing that to curb inflation. Some collateral damage has been obviously the tension between landlords and lenders whose loans may be coming due and whatnot, and kind of going along that buy and sell side of commercial real estate. People can't value office right now. It's hard enough to value any product type because of the fact that it's like catching a falling knife. You just don't know where these rates are going to end up, and so how that's going to affect the value and where it's going to. So I think that's why you're going to have that kind of readjustment period that we're going to see in the capital market side. On the leasing side, it's like tenants are still leasing space.
There's demand.
Yeah, there's demand. And it's great.
Story in the news. We'll put
it's
it that
great to be in.
It's great to hear.
It's great to be in Dallas. I know where you're going with this.
Love it.
We say that every day.
We're in 15 markets across the country, and we compare notes and we talk all the time. And some things are similar, some things are not. But the one thing that has been true pre and post pandemic is that people are moving to Dallas. Jobs are following those people. Sometimes it's the jobs and the people follow the jobs, but the bottom line is we have job growth and population growth, and Dallas is chock full of small and medium-sized businesses that make up, call it 80% of the economy, and those businesses have been transacting for a while. They make unilateral decisions. They're not worried about what a board in New York is going to say about it, or what the political climate or the stance on a global standard looks like. They're saying this is we're in Dallas, we're in the region, we're in Texas, whatever the case may be, and we're going back to the office and we're doing this, and this is where we want to be. And those groups are, they're not as many big corporate America transactions, but I feel like there's more of those 5 to maybe up to 50,000 square feet. There's more of those than we've seen since the pandemic, for sure.
That's great.
Sure.
Yeah, we're definitely very grateful to be in Dallas. It's definitely been a thriving market, even over the last 3 years compared to, other markets. So we agree with you. It's definitely been a privilege to be here.
Absolutely.
And to answer kind of taking that question on a different angle from current clients or current landlords that are potentially going to invest in repositioning assets, I would say for us, our case studies speak volumes to show what we've done. Here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to do it, here's the result. And we have so many projects that we've worked with our clients on, and we explain how we've advised our clients through the process, how we work hand in hand with them through this process, whether that's a full building repositioning, such as a Trammell Crow Center, and showing what it was before, here's the rental rates, here's what happened for the repositioning, here's rental rates today. There's a whole story to tell on that. Pinnacle Tower, today we're working on the Guild as a big repositioning, but then if they're not going to go that caliber, we also have spec suite studies, which I'm sure we'll talk about because that's a big topic as well. But how do you sell the story of, a landlord looks at the cost of per square foot cost to build out a 5,000 square foot space, and they're like, how does that make sense? It's expensive, especially in today's world. Again, we have all the data to show we've done it before. Let us tell you what we did last time. Here's how we did it. Here was the result. And I think if you go in there with proven success, it's a lot easier to sell the story rather than just walking in there and saying, we hope this works, let's try it, and not having proven success. But we do have enough proven success throughout our portfolio that we have good data to show to back us in that request.
So then to piggyback off of what you said about spec suites, I think one of the questions that we wanted to ask is, are you still seeing spec suites the best method to pull in those smaller tenants into the buildings rather than, one of them trying to move and kind of redo a suite all by themselves? And are you seeing that ownerships are really taking an investment in thoughtful design of spec suites?
Absolutely. Spec suites are still the name of the game. As JJ said earlier, it's those smaller groups that are able to move and move quick, and some of them did press pause during COVID, and so now they're looking for space and they want space quick. And you look at construction timing, construction cost, that's a lot of risk to put on, a company of that size, and to be able to have the majority of that risk alleviated for them and to go in and have product that they can see. They don't have to imagine what it's going to be. They don't have to go through the process. It's there, they get it, they know what they're getting. It's been extremely successful for us. We actually did a study for our team for 2022 just to look at our spec suite success for the year. And for all of our new deals signed, 25% from a deal count, not a square footage count, but 25% of our new deals signed for our team last year were spec suites. And these aren't, massive. I think our average size spec suite was right over 4,000 square feet, right. Which has grown from what it used to be. I mean, it used to be you would only do spec suites around 2,000 square feet, and now some of them we're signing at 8,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. So absolutely there's demand. We have had great success with it. I would say something that we do really well is we propose what we call a flexible demise spec suite, where we take a larger space block. Obviously helps with economies of scale to build out a larger suite, and then you market it. If it's a 10,000 square foot block, you market it to a 10,000 square foot user, but you also market it to two 5,000 square foot users, or show how you can divide it, and you market it that way and thoughtfully build it that way so it can be demised, and allows us to reach a lot more. And again, economies of scale from build out costs, and we've had a lot of success with that. And our current clients, some of our clients are seeing the success, and they're continuing to build rotating programs where it's just a revolving door, a finished one, build the next, and we're pre-leasing them at this point before we even have them to deliver. So, I mean, we're big advocates. We've seen the success, and yeah, absolutely. And learning real time too, how to transition what the market's asking for as we develop each plan of that future phase of spec suites.
Right, because each set we do, it seems like we learn something new and do something different, and the market tells us something different because the market's, constantly changing. And so I would say quality, like we were talking about earlier, do it right. Flexibility, which she alluded to, and then allowing for future growth. Because a lot of the questions companies are having now is, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, but we really think we're going to grow in the next 3 years. And the beauty of the spec suites for the landlord too is that we'll put you in there, but you're 5,000 a day and need to be 10,000, you can't fit there. We'll build out a 10,000 foot space and make the numbers work for you. You have a place to be, you don't have to go anywhere. Or we can put you in a new spec suite that's larger. So, I think depending on the size of the building, depending on the location, depending on the average size of tenants in that submarket, I think those are absolutely the name of the game. I mean, you're not going to lease to 5,000 square foot, 6,000 square foot tenant or below, I don't think, unless you have spec suites to offer, just because they want to take those variables off the table. They don't worry about time and cost, which are the two most important things that they're evaluating.
Yeah, move-in ready is definitely key.
Key. See it, like it, move in.
Yes.
So, to end this question, what are some of the best resources that your A&D partners can provide for you in regard to commercial real estate?
So I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but I think we rely on partnering with y'all for ideas. You're seeing kind of the newest, the greatest cutting edge of whatever that may be, and we're constantly being asked by our clients, what's next? What are we missing? What can we do better? And y'all have great knowledge of that to be able to provide us feedback of, even if it's not something you've done, but something you've seen in another market, the more you can come to us with a proactive approach of, here's a new idea, here's what has not been done prior. I think that's something that puts us kind of at the forefront of whether it's with an existing client or us going into a pitch, having y'all help with idea generation of what can we do different at this building, how can we realign this asset, what are the ideas, what's the next best. That's extremely helpful to us, as well as you sharing trends you're seeing as you're working through, just with your clients as well, sharing feedback, because you have a lot more exposure on that front than we do, and keeping us informed so we're more educated.
Yeah, and communication is the name of the game, like it is in most things. It's not rocket science, but I think if you're continuing to communicate back and forth on, we're communicating what we're seeing, we're comparing notes and all those things. I think the rising tide rises all ships. So I think that's what we love, that collaboration and just sharing of best practices, lessons learned.
Right, brings out some of the best ideas.
There you go.
So.
Well, and we do love working with Stream, and we really appreciate you guys and your time today and all of your input. Your insights have been fantastic.
I appreciate you having us.
We feel the
This
same
is
about your
fun.
team.
Yes, thank
Real
you.
estate podcast. We made it.
Yes,
we were right.
absolutely.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank
It's
you.
fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joel. Thank you for tuning in to Enterprise Design's Industry Insights video podcast. Please follow us and subscribe to our channel or visit us on our website at enterprisedesign.com.
And look for our teaser video highlighting the next episode. We look forward to seeing you then.